Morning, guys. I'm not quite sure why it didn't just turn on the way it was supposed to, but I thought it was going to turn on bang on 9 o'clock, but for some reason it didn't. So, good morning to you all. And yep, welcome to all the armchair generals out there. I hope you're all doing well today. And it was quite an interesting week as far as the campaign was concerned. So, it's going to be interesting to see what happens next. Do any of you guys have any updates from the week? Any thoughts that you've had? Just anything in general? Just whilst I get a couple of bits and pieces here. And by that, I mean I have a drink. Cool. So, as an overview from last turn, what happened? Let's have a quick catch up. We had our Confederate forces attempting to take Strasbourg, but they were repulsed, so they fell back. General Ewell took Front Royal. The Union forces under General Fremont came across and forced the rebel detachments out of Harrisonburg, and down in the south there was no movement. So it was quite an interesting one. 2 victories last turn for the Union, just to the 1 of the Confederates. So it was kind of almost a reversal from the previous turn, like Uno switch or whatever they say. I'm not thrilled with the Union choices. I haven't actually checked what the Union choice is this turn, so I will have a look in a moment. So yeah, I'll have a look now. Actually, you got me interested what the choice actually is. Let's have a quick peek. Okay, so for the Union, they have decided. Oh no, sorry. We'll just go for the rebels first. So the rebel player has decided they're going to go for option number 2. And number 2 was for Jackson to attempt to march south to engage Fremont. This detachment, who is kind of a blocking force, to try and attack as well, to try and catch them from 2 sides. Option 2, Jackson. Johnson also goes on the offensive down south. And Ewell advancing over towards Manassas Gap. And for the Union, we've got option 1, which is all Union forces advance to engage the enemy. Maximum weight is being brought to bear in an attempt to overwhelm them. Okay, so that's going to be these 2 forces going to Front Royal. We've got the Union forces at Strasbourg going after Jackson. We've got... what have we got? Oh, yes, Fremont's going south, and we've got this detachment coming across to try and attack General Johnson. I favoured the pincer move, but the raid on Staunton had the votes. Yeah, when I was coming up with them, I thought that the best move would be for Fremont to march north and try and catch Jackson, because that way it could be the end of him. But no, obviously other people's thoughts outweighed our own. So never mind. But yeah, that's what I originally thought. That would be a good move. We can take out Jackson's main force, or the Confederate main army under Jackson. Then it would just be a matter of mopping up the smaller groups. But oh well, they want to take Staunton, which I guess from a strategic standpoint you could say is a good move, because then they've only got 1 supply depot. You could possibly destroy them because they were just a few small detachments, and then march on and finish Johnson off. And then everything can march north and try and get them later. Who knows? So let's find out what's going to happen this turn. No worries. Good to see you, Luke. We just did our quick recap, and we are now getting into the rolling for the turn. So we are currently on turn 4, so we're 1/4 of the way through. And this turn is going to cover the period of the 13th to the 19th of April. So first up, we've got initiative rolls. And the Confederates gain their +1 because they've got the detailed map. And Confederates have a 2-1 anyway, so Confederate initiative is Confederates. Cool. So that's going to be useful from the Confederate perspective. Weather. What do we have for the weather? Let's find out. Okay, because last turn it was light drizzle. The turn before, I think it was heavy rain. Let's see if we can get back to some nice summer weather. It is a 13. And we're in April, so it's still light rain. Okay, light rain. So that doesn't really affect the strategic movement. It's just in the in battle bits where movement is reduced. Cool. So that's our weather. Now, historical events. Last term we didn't have one, but on April the 19th, Lincoln decided to detach Shields Division and transfer it to Major General Irvin McDowell at Fredericksburg, leaving Banks in the Valley with only a single division. Shields' troops must move to Fredericksburg. Interesting. However, Shields is now in command of that army group, so I think we may have to consider that Lincoln would probably leave him. I'll put this to you guys. Seeing as his overall commander in the Valley has just been killed, do you think Lincoln would still be trying to shift troops over to support General McDowell, or do you think he would actually take a hard line with dealing with the Valley? I like the blue dice. Change the blue dice. It is cursed every turn. And 3 weeks of rain should start to make a strategic movement a bit soggy. Yeah, fair play. Okay. So yeah, I would suggest just going back to the historical event. That probably he would have them stay. Yeah, that option should probably be modified. Maybe send one brigade. Yep, to Fredericksburg. Yeah, I think that's fair. Okay. If I had a gamble, I'd say passed. We will send one brigade, one Union brigade to Fredericksburg. Cool. And so they'll have to just march around to support the hopeful taking of Richmond in the next few weeks. Would Lincoln have received news of death before sending reserves? I guess they had telegrams back then, so messages could be sent pretty fast. I mean, this is basically a week-ish on from the death of Banks, so I would think he probably would know by now. Or we can roll the dice. I'll leave that to you guys to think about. But yeah, I would say probably they would know. Yeah. Plus, probably the orders would already have been drawn up, wanting the troops to have been moved over. So even if they didn't know that Banks had been killed, the orders to transfer troops would already have been sent out. At least that's what I would assume. Okay. So that's the historical event. Now we've got our random events for the armies. So let's go for the Union first. And they've rolled a 20. Ooh, strategy or tactics. If you're the winner, you gain 1 SP less this turn. Oh, interesting. So this one was based off of whether the commander is more of a strategist or a tactician. So if you lose a battle, you gain an extra SP or victory point. And if you win the battle, you gain 1 less. So yes, it's kind of which way are they going. So that's kind of interesting. So it could be a curse or it could be a boon, a boost. Option 20. Strat versus tactics. Cool. And for the Confederates, you've got a 2, and that is thick fog. No shooting further than 6 centimeters. Roll a d20 at the start of each turn. If the roll is below the current turn, the fog lifts. It affects both players. Okay, interesting. So, thick fog. It was historically accurate that generals would stonewall obeying orders which they found objectionable. Yeah, or inconvenient. True. Okay, so we've got our random Union event, which is potentially going to be a boost if they lose or a hindrance if they win their battles. And for the Confederates, there's thick fog, so all the battles are going to be suffering with fog. Now we've got the next decision is detachments. So far, if I remember rightly, we have already sent, I think it's a cavalry detachment and an infantry detachment across. I think maybe it's 2 infantry and 1 cavalry. No, I'm just going to look back through the notes because I cannot remember. Okay, so on turn 1, the Union had a cavalry unit, which they sent. On turn 2, the Union had artillery, which they sent to Front Royal. And on turn 3, they sent infantry to Front Royal. So they've basically had one of each of the different options. So this turn, what are we going to go for? Union players, are we going to have infantry, cavalry, or artillery? And do you want them to come on at Manassas Gap, Hagerstown, or Cumberland? And for the Confederates, what have we had so far? On turn 1, they had artillery at Staunton. On turn 2, they had infantry from Staunton. And turn 3, they had artillery from Staunton. So they've had 2 artillery, is that right? I think I just said. And 1 infantry. Yep. So the Confederates have 1 more artillery piece and 2 more infantry and 3 cavalry to bring on. And the Union have 2 of each. So how about using the detachment to fulfill the Fredericksburg reinforcement? Interesting. Yep, cool. You're the only Union player today, so we'll go for that. I'll give you complete control over that decision. So, okay, Union detachment going to Fredericksburg. Cool. Yep, I think that makes a good move. And Luke, cavalry from Staunton. Yep. And do you want the cavalry to go from Staunton north, or do you want them to, so they can support this unit as they are supporting Jackson, who's coming down and attack the Union here, or do you want them to go over and support Johnson, who is probably going to be going on the offensive against the Union down in the south? I command everything. I know. Support Johnson. Okay, cool. So we're going to go cavalry to support Johnson. I think that's a good move. I was thinking about it earlier, which way. And in my opinion, it was going to be if Jackson gets the initiative and comes down, you're going to have his good size army hitting them from the north and the smaller force coming up from the south. And Fremont's force, I'm pretty sure, has got 3 infantry plus 1 artillery. So he's going to be outnumbered anyway. Whereas Johnson has got 3 infantry and 1 artillery, and he's against the Union with 3 infantry and 1 cavalry. So they're kind of comparable. So a few extra troops there will give him the edge. So that's a good move. Cool. So that's that. Next up is our options. So yeah, as we went over earlier, but I'll go through again. This turn, the Confederates, where is that, rebels? Yeah. So the Confederates, who've now just gained the initiative, are going to put their battle plan into effect, and that was for General Ewell to attack Manassas Gap, and for General Jackson to march south to Harrisburg. This detachment was to support him. And I'm just double check. Johnson goes on the offensive in the south. So it was kind of, everyone moving. So that's going to be what the Confederates were doing. And in response, we had the Union, who chose option 3. And that was for, they were going to have these troops coming down to attack Jackson and these ones marching north. So, I mean, if we think of it realistically, Jackson gains the initiative, which gives him 1 free march over the others. Then they're going to be coming down. He's going to be coming up. And so we're going to have probably our battle somewhere around Newmarket with these troops coming up behind. And they would just get to there. They wouldn't quite reach him. Okay. I thought the Union option was 2. Nope. Option 2. Did I say that earlier? No, I'm looking at it now. And where's the camera? Yeah, option 3 with 32%, I think it says. 32%, yeah. So option 3 is similar to 2, however, shield. So yeah, that's what I think maybe the confusion is. So option 2 was for the central force to march north to attack Jackson, and Shields moves east from Strasbourg to join up with the and so that was going to be Shields moving across, Fremont moving north. But then for option 3, it was for Shields' force to march down on Jackson to try and catch him in the pincer movement. So, yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, there we go. Got me confused for a second. Cool. So I would say that's probably the most likely thing. These troops would come up, so they will be arriving as some sort of reinforcement. Jackson and Fremont will be facing off from the start. Shields' command doesn't quite catch them this turn. We'll have the battle over here at Manassas Gap with these troops who were ordered to attack him. I guess they were ordered technically to go to Front Royal, and then they will pursue. So I should think they would actually be more likely to come across here. So that puts Ewell in a bit of a precarious position in that if he loses, he cannot escape. Interesting. And down there for Johnson and his adversary, who currently has no commander's name, it's just a group of Union troops under some random general, are going to fight it out down there. So that's quite an interesting turn ahead, actually. Yeah, to be honest, I wasn't actually expecting that, so that's intriguing. Is Jackson still getting the Freetown movement boost, even though he's still wounded? So for Jackson, his sort of strategic, his I'm not sure what the word is, but as a commander, because he was his army was always known as like the foot cavalry. His army just gets to move 3 as standard, whilst everyone else just gets to move 2. However, good thing you actually reminded me there. There is the option for other armies to try and do a forced march. So for the Union, these troops, we can try and force march them if you want. And then that would be a D10. Yes. So if you want to try and force march those, we can go for it and see if they can catch them. So there'll be a 2-way trap, 3-way trap, 4-way trap. I'm not sure. Yeah. Do you want us to force march that force? I'll read the force marches allow units to attempt to gain an extra bound. This is attempted by rolling the D10. However, there is a potential penalty. So roll a 1 to 4 and the army fails to march. On a 5 to 7, the army suffers D4 cohesion loss. And on an 8 to 10, they succeed with no loss. I think the physical condition would have a lot of effect on that. Yeah, true. I mean, he's back up to 4 now, so his health is more or less back to normal as of this turn. So I don't think if it was last turn, I would definitely agree with you. This turn, I think he's probably fit to fight. Yeah, so force march is really necessary. Cool, let's go for it. Cool. So we rolled. I'll roll that again, so it's clear for everyone. Rolls an 8. So D4 on an 8 to 10, no loss. Okay, cool. So the Union do catch up. Okay, so that's going to be a very interesting one now. So we're going to take some notes for when we're fighting the battle. Jackson and Fremont. Then we've got Confederate reinforcements. And we've got Union reinforcements. Okay, cool. That's going to make it a very interesting battle indeed, which I think might have the potential to decide the outcome of the whole campaign, one way or the other. If the Confederates lose, actually there's a crossroads, so there's a chance for Jackson to escape if he loses. But if he doesn't, if he wins, I think Fremont's probably going to get cut to pieces, but he might be able to escape. It's going to be a tricky one. It'll be a very hard one. Suggest a die roll for the reinforcing troops. High die roll gets to enter the battle first. Yep. That's what I always do in the battles when we have reinforcements, is we roll off whatever the turns are. So usually it's a D12, and then whatever the roll is within that. So if you roll a 5 from turn 5, that's when the reinforcements arrive for one side, and then you roll the D12 for the other side, and whatever they roll, a 1, a 10, that's when their reinforcements arrive. And thick fog across the battlefield. Yep. So it's going to, what's the fog effect going to do? That's reduces your ability to shoot. Both players keep 3 units hidden to be deployed at will. No shooting further than 6, and roll a d20 each turn. And on a turn of 4, from the start of turn 4, and if the roll is below the current turn, the fog lifts. So it's basically going to mean that certain units can't be seen. So we use a bit of fog of war, blinds for a couple of the units, so that neither of the players will know which units they are. And you've got shooting of 6 for the infantry, and artillery will have to roll random to see if they actually hit anyone or not, because they're not really going to see any targets in the distance. So that's going to make a real interesting one. It's going to be a very close and personal fight. Fog is going to make this a brawl. Artillery is going to be nerfed. Yeah, artillery is not going to have much effect on this one. I think the Union had more artillery. They've got 1 with him, 3 with him, so that would be 4. I think Jackson's got 2, and they've got 1. So, yeah, the Union artillery advantage will be nullified, which would be quite interesting. Okay, this is going to be quite an exciting turn, actually. Yeah. Okay, so let me write down. We've got battles. So we've got Newmarket. We've got Manassas Gap. And we've got, what's that say? West Augusta. Cool. And then there's the wet ground. Yeah, we've got the wet ground. So that's going to be, where is it? Movement reduced by 2 centimeters. So they're going to be moving slower, not seeing where anyone is, and not having artillery support. It's going to be a real crazy battle. They'll be smelling each other. Yeah, especially the cologne. And yeah, okay. This is going to be a very, very interesting and I think fun battle to actually fight, having all of these these different effects, weather effects taking part, and reinforcements turning up at who knows what turns. Yeah. Yeah, interesting. But yeah, just sort of studying the map now as we talk. I mean, down here I think will be an interesting one. I think overall, with the Confederate detachments coming along and joining up, which was their cavalry, they're going to have the advantage there, especially as they've got artillery as well. So here's the question to both groups: if the Union lose, should they withdraw all the way back to their what is that town? I've got it down as Monterey, but I think that's the wrong name. I think it's called McDowell. But should they withdraw back to this town, or should they just withdraw back to the next bridge crossing? Likewise, if the Confederates lose, should they take the northern route or the southern route? As in, are we heading back to Staunton, or are we going to try and then abandon the city and link up with the other forces? I would say probably for the Confederates, best policy would be to get back to Staunton to defend that by just slowly but surely falling back defensive position to defensive position. And probably for the Union, I would suggest holding at the ford. Friday night. A vulgar brawl in Frederick the Great's words. Friday night in my hometown. Back to Staunton. Okay, cool. and Federals retreat just to the river crossing. Yep. Okay, cool. Up here, I don't think the Confederates would have much of a chance. I mean, we'll probably do a random roll, because if they get beaten and they try and withdraw, they'll be trying to withdraw under the worst battlefield conditions. So they'll take horrific casualties anyway, which I think will probably destroy their army. So being surrounded, I think they would probably surrender, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, if we get to it. For the Union troops in Manassas Gap, I think they would probably, I don't know, they don't really have anywhere to go. So if they're beaten, they'll probably surrender. These guys would just withdraw back to Front Royal. In the center here, yeah, if Jackson's defeated badly, there's the option his army might be destroyed. But if not, should he try and escape to the west or to the east? Same for General Fremont. Should he try and go east or west? Sorry, east or west? And obviously these two, we know they've just pulled back. Retreat to the river crossing. Go. Yeah, I mean, again, I would say for Jackson, probably east. Yeah, I was going to say if he comes across here, he can help to support Ewell, would probably be best. Or again, he's closer to the Charlottesville for his reinforcements. And if I can send you links to USGS topo map of the battlefield. Oh, yeah, that would be cool. Then I can actually try and make the battlefield as accurate as possible. Yeah, I would appreciate that. And probably going back to this, I'd say for the Union, best bet would be to try and retreat back through the passes. Okay, cool. That gives us our battle plans for the turn. Yeah, exciting. So, and just to go over it, the detachment. So the Union detachment isn't even coming into play. They're just being dispatched to Fredericksburg this turn. And for the Confederates, we're sending cavalry over to Johnson. Cool, that's good. See what I can do and then post them on Facebook. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, that way we can try and get as good an accurate representation as we can for the battles. That'd be really cool. Anyone have any suggestions, questions, queries about what's happening this turn or about anything in general? Yeah, 3 battles to fight. Hopefully I get the time. So I have to work tomorrow, so I won't be able to do anything there. So it will be Sunday afternoon wargaming. So that's going to be a good Sunday. As for next week is the week I'm in Australia for my work conference. So I won't be able to go live next Friday because I'll be flying, but I can go live next Saturday. So we'll do it on same time, 9 a.m. On Saturday instead of Friday. And I'm not sure quite how that correlates to you guys' times and dates, but it'll be the same time as this, but just tomorrow instead of today. Kangaroo? Yep, pretty well. Although I think there might be a few saltwater crocodiles, so watch out for them. And poisonous snakes and spiders and all the other things that you don't want. I don't know why anyone would want to live in Australia, to be honest. Cheers. Yeah. Used to hate flying, but now I quite enjoy it. So yeah, it should be good. It should be good, although I'd rather be doing a war game instead and full of Aussies. Yeah. I guess that's the downside when you empty all the prisons out. Just joking if there's anyone from Australia. We don't hate you, really. But yeah. Exciting turn, that's for sure. I should still be able to get the battle update, like the what happened. I should be able to upload that on Monday or Tuesday. I should be able to do most of the work tomorrow. Sunday night when I'm getting ready to go, and then I should be able to get the editing finished Monday night anyway. So yeah, I should get that up on either Monday or Tuesday, irrespective of being over there. So that shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, and I am looking forward to seeing how this one turns out big time. So yeah, unless there's anything else, guys, I think I will take my leave. But thanks very much for joining us today and for your input. And I am very much enjoying letting you guys make the decisions so I don't have to. But yeah, thanks again, guys. and enjoy the rest of your week and weekends. See ya.